The Village of Sayward respectfully acknowledges the land that we are gathered on in the unceded traditional territory of the Comox First Nation, the traditional keeper of our land. Call the meeting to order. We have a couple of introduction of late items. One is going to be discussing in-person meetings and keeping the recording of. And we can move that to, should we just put it under, any suggestions? Sorry, new business? Let's go new business. In person, and there's another late item from the CAO. Go ahead, CAO, what is the late item?
Thank you. I move that we add to also new business that the West Coast Lifeguard and First Aid training be added to new business.
Okay, so Kelsey Center.
Kelsey Center. Yeah.
Okay, folks, check down to new business. Approval of agenda. Is everybody good with the agenda?
Yes.
Good. Minutes of previous meetings. Recommended resolution is the minutes from the regular council meeting that was held on February 15th, 2022 be adopted. Do I have a motion, please? Second?
I'll second that.
Discussion? Opposed? Hearing none, carried. Petition and delegations. We have some online or? Okay, we're gonna come back to that. But matter of fact, why don't we do this? Recommended resolution that the minutes from the committee of the whole meeting that was held on February 22nd, 2022 be adopted. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second?
I'll second it.
Discussion? Okay, opposed? Seeing none, carried. Okay. Correspondence. Nope. Okay, we have back to number 5. There is nobody. They haven't shown up for the petition and delegations. If they come later on during the meeting, we'll add them at that time. Correspondence, we have A through C be adopted, B for just to be received and discussion. Do I have a motion, please? Second?
I'll second that.
Discussion?
I'd like to pull item B, Daryl and Jackie Lyons.
Okay, pulling B. Thank you. So let's discuss B.
I read through the correspondence and I was really appreciative to get the article from her that's being published. I think she did a great job and the photography is spectacular. And I told her that. But I would like to address a few things that are in her request. One of them being that she's asking for permission for the village to put her article on the website, the official village website. And when you look at the website, it is for our items particular to the village of Sayward, and it doesn't address personal accomplishments or anything like that. So I would suggest that it not be posted on the website, on our official website. There is social media around that she could post it on around Sayward or Sayward Rant and Rave, and get it out to most people. And the second item that I wanted to address is that I believe she's asking the village to post it in the Sayward News. And I just want to be clear on who's responsible for posting in this. Like, I think it's a great idea to post it in the Sayward newsletter, but I'm not sure that it's the village that should be contacted. It should be the Sayward News letter, people, whoever produced that.
That is the village. That is Melissa.
Okay, well, I guess I see Melissa as wearing two hats. Like if she's the editor of, or the producer of the Sayward News, then it's, rather than it being the village, it should be, I would say, Melissa. That anybody contact for putting in ads or articles or postings. I'm not saying that I don't want it to be posted or I don't think it should be. I think it's a great idea for a way to share it with the people in Sayward and around the Sayward Valley. But I guess I need some clarity in my mind as to who, I know there's a group of people that come and fold it and
Mhm.
you know, put it together, but I thought it was a combination between the village and the director in the valley that pays for producing the paper.
Yes, but the actual format, correct me if I'm wrong, the actual format and how it's put together is done by our village staff. Melissa, and I think it's overseen by our CFO. So that's the way the letter's always been been put together for over a year, more than that, a few years, I guess. So, I mean, in terms of sending it to the right person for it, that would be who it was sent to.
Okay.
In that, but also in regards to having it on the website under tourism, for example, because it does bring some light into tourism and talks about, you know, the log sword and the ballet and bringing attention to Sayward. So I don't think it's a bad idea. You were going to say something, CAO?
Yeah, I think part of the request for Sayward News, and sorry to jump back over to the Sayward News, is I think it's her understanding too that this would be placed, if council decides, in that in the Sayward News at no expense. So that would be a decision for council as well. CFO, what is the typical expense to post an article that size? But there is a charge though, typically.
Thank you. So through to the council. So just as a little bit of background, Melissa does do the Sayward News and I oversee it. The CAO is also ultimately responsible for reviewing the Sayward News before it goes out. As far as this particular article goes, staff were directed by the CAO to put it into the Sayward News for March. So it's already in the Sayward News and printed and distributed. As per direction from senior staff. And as far as costs go, I don't have the exact costs in front of me, but I know that a quarter page, I believe, is $10. Don't quote me on that. Full page is maybe $30. Again, don't quote me. There is a list of prices in the fees and charges bylaw. So there is definitely fees associated with ads and things that people put into the newsletter. Thank you.
However, if it's already posted, that's that ship has sailed.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, I thought it was there. Yeah, so it is there. I read it. I mean, part of it is the fact that it is a well-written article and promotes the value of the village and the area. So, I'm just speaking. I would agree with having it on the tourism tab on the site. You know, I think it's a good thing for promoting the village.
Well, let's put it out there. Do we need a resolution on that? Yes. Okay, let's have a resolution to post the Reader's Digest article from Jackie Lyons on the tourism end of our website. So do I have a motion, please? Second,
I'll second that.
discussion?
Yep.
I'm sorry,
I can't raise my hand on my phone, but I do have
Okay.
something I'd like to.
Counselor. Go ahead, Counselor Craig.
Okay, I have a question. So we're gonna have a resolution on something that's already been approved by somebody,
No,
directed senior staff, and it's already in
No.
the Sabre News?
you missed the part where we're not talking about the Sabre News. We're talking about the tourism part on our website. The Sabre News is done. It's history. We're not discussing that.
Well, we are discussing that because if
No,
it's
we're
already
not.
put into the Sabre News, we were just discussing whether it can go into the Sabre News earlier. And yes, we are going to discuss it because if it was already brought before council right here, right now, as to put it into the Sabre News, Councillor Polson already did her mention on that. Why was it already put into the Sabre News if council didn't direct it to go into the Sabre News? As far as I'm concerned, Jackie Lyons wrote an article on her own behest. She was not directed by the Village of Sayward to do so. I've written a book. I have not requested my book to be put on the village website, nor have I requested it to be put in the Sayward News. Should I have done that, I could have paid for the advertising to do that.
Counselor
Some-
Craig, that ship
not-
has already sailed. And the bottom line is,
The
hang
point
on, before you go off on, there's no point of order here.
is
We're not
because-
discussing the Sabre News. That's already done. And it is not up to council to
Again-
babysit or approve whatever goes into the Sabre News.
And that is a very heavy procedural difference.
It's
Right
not
now
up to
we're-
council.
And it
Right
will
now,
go,
we're voting on the website and the tab on
Okay.
tourism. That's what's on the
Move-
table and that's what's being discussed right now.
We're
Who-
moving on.
an
We're moving
article,
on. So what we're discussing here is going on to our website under tourism. So do we have the discussion? So do we have opposed?
yeah.
Okay. Motion's carried. Nope. The one, so our petition and delegation is here. Okay, we're going back to number 5. And we have Carol Scogan would like to speak regarding the seniors rate of the Kelsey Center. We're just getting set up, council, so just a moment, please.
There. I get a copy too, Carol? Oh, yeah. Great. So there, yeah, the microphone's on when you're ready.
Well, I'm not gonna read all this.
No, just whatever you want to.
We,
Sit down and then talking to the microphone, please.
okay, yeah, we just feel that paying like $4 per person each time we carpet bowl is too much. And we kind of would like to have like, a membership, you know, like a yearly membership or something. And, like the carpet bowlers, everything we use is our own stuff. The carpets have been bought and paid for by the carpet bowlers. And, that was before I started. That was before I joined. But yeah, this basically is, it's all. And now we're just bowling like once a week. And like we said that, the crib players and also the, domino players have left the hall. You know, and just do things to encourage them to come back too. That's basically all it is. We just feel that paying $4 each every time, and, you know, we supply our own coffee and everything. We clean up everything when we leave. So really, we're just using all our own stuff. We're just using your hall.
CAO, you had, CAO, you had some stuff to add?
Great, thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah. I'll let you do it. Okay.
So Carol, I'm pleased to let you know that we've been working with the Kelsey staff, and you know, part of our mission is to determine programming for that center. It was brought to my attention regarding the user rates and the seniors group, lawn bowling and dominoes, and we are doing everything in our power right now to secure other grant funding that would allow programming to be either at a very, very low rate or completely free of charge. The other thing that is in the works is to put together a bit of a committee or obtain information, and we're still examining the format to do that, to solicit information as to, you know, what our community, both the valley and the village, would like to see in terms of programming for seniors. Yes. And so you'll be able to provide some of that information, and I know there is a planned event to be able to supply some of that. And so that's another opportunity where we can look at, you know, other programming besides what we have in place today. So we are aware that you know, there is a concern about user rates. Seniors, youth, and other programming is very, very important to the center. So we continue to look at ways to best fund that. There is some other grants in place where at least we're trying to obtain that would allow us to take a look at some of the work needed in the center as well. So that's other information that you know, once we hear back, we'll be able to provide. So I want to take the opportunity to thank you for this. I'll review this again with the recreation manager and see what we can do, at least for the interim, and then we can look forward to getting more input from seniors in our area as to what can happen in the future.
So in,
Bit of money in the pot. It's like all of us when we go, and out of that money we needed to the things, you know. Like we just throw $1 in every. So
okay,
not for our coffee and stuff like that, but. And we have been, like, they have had grants. That's what they've been using for us with grants money.
Yeah.
so go ahead.
Thank you for that. I can also let you know that we are looking at, to your point, you know, what does a membership look like and what's included to that? So we are reaching out to other centers to see, you know, what works best, and are entertaining other sort of platforms like that. For the interim, I'm still working with Michelle on how best to accommodate the asset as it is now. And certainly, I know lawn bowling is 1 day a week, and Domino's group. Yeah, I'd like to see how we can get that back too. So,
Yeah, there's 2 times a week the games are played for bowling.
it's 1 currently though now, right? It used to be 3 times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it used to be 3 times from my understanding.
They changed the time on us too. Like we started at 9:30, now they've got us at 9:15, and we're running into the exercise, the aerobics.
All right.
They're like getting there before we're even done.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know the programming is under review right now, so I think we'll have a more locked in schedule. So we'll definitely be able to talk a little bit more about that as the project evolves. But
So where do we sit today with the lawnmower, the bowlers, and so on and so forth, until we find out how much the grant is and when we're getting the grant?
yeah, currently user rates have been notified to my understanding some time ago that they would start being collected again. Not all attendees are paying the user rates, and that's something that, you know, that's kind of an interim sort of situation there. But lawn bowling is still scheduled 1 day a week. Domino's has been pulled by the group.
Okay, so the lawn bowlers will still have to pay the $4 a week at this point? Is that correct?
In terms of wording on that, we've we've asked for the user rates. Not everybody in attendance is paying the user rates at this time.
Okay. Okay.
No, I haven't paid yet. No.
Okay.
Because, I mean, the senior should have X number of dollars. Cost of living is not that high. If it continues, the extra charges, I will just have to give up everything. I mean, there's just no way that I can afford it with the extra charges of everything. I go grocery shopping, it now costs me $200 rather than $150. So there's an extra $50 every 2 weeks. Just as retired people, we just do not have. I mean, to you guys, it's $4. To me, it's $16 a month on top of everything else.
Understand. Okay, well, thank you very much for coming tonight. Councilor Paulson?
Yes. I would just like to let you know that I don't know if you're on Facebook or if you've seen the advertisement, but I just, did you? For March the 14th, and that is reaching out to all of the seniors in the valley and in the village to attend and take part in a questionnaire and writing down what you would like and about the cost and cost sharing or an annual seniors fee and that sort of thing. So, and I believe it sounds like the manager has lined up goodies and coffee and tea and hopes to have a big number of the seniors come out to just to find out what the potential is for the Kelsey Center. And hopefully at that time you'll be able to voice your concerns and write them down. And I'd really encourage you all to talk to your friends, drive your friends here, bring them, come, and it's kind of a fact-finding mission, and I think it will provide a lot more information than that the manager currently doesn't have, so they can take a better look at what programs and the timing and that sort of thing. So I just encourage you all to attend that. And thank you for coming tonight. I appreciate it.
Mhm. Okay, does anybody else from council have,
I do.
oh, Councillor Craig?
Yes, please. I would like the rec center to develop a program where other rec centers have already developed, where you have monthly subscriptions, yearly subscriptions, seniors rates, as well as a program. Most rec centers have a program for financially disadvantaged people. And what it is, it's a program where the government subsidies your monthly subscription costs. And all you have to do is just sign up on a pre-described piece of paper that they have in a form, and they send it off. And our village should be well into the 21st century and do that along with all the other rec centers, so we can give seniors a break and we can give lower income families a break. And we should be looking into doing that. Thank you.
CAO?
Thank you, Councillor Craig. Yeah, as we've been working with the Kelsey staff, we are working in that direction. So we have reached out to other community centers, rec centers that are likened to ours in smaller munis, and that work is well underway. So I agree that that program is important, and we are heading in that direction.
Excellent.
Okay,
Okay, so we're done?
we're done. Thank you very much for coming tonight.
Yes, thank
Okay.
you.
The CAO will let the Kelsey Center know and
Okay.
with all the programs, but thank you very much for coming in.
Ladies, thank you for your time.
Thanks for having us.
I'm not sure what that is, but. Oh, okay. Okay, so council, at this point, do you have any additional motion on the lawn bowling? Or are we leaving it as is at $4? Are we doing a motion? Or should we discuss the fact that lawn bowling, for example, is, or some of the programs are either more discounted until we find out if we're getting a grant or they don't charge? Go ahead, Councillor Polson.
I believe that last September or October, we had a motion put forward to form a committee to look into what should go on, what could be done at the Kelsey Center and different programs and that sort of thing. And at that time, that motion was defeated. And so I think my personal opinion is that we should go back to what we decided at that time was to leave things at the status quo until the report came back from the SRD. And I am concerned that this fee arrangements was put in place, and it looks to me like it should be a budget item. So I have concerns about the budget for the Kelsey Center went up quite a bit from last year, operating at a deficit last year to operating at a higher deficit this year, according to the 2022 budget. So none of those increases for increased staffing and increased hourly rate for lifeguards has come before council and been a resolution or been a recommendation. So I would like to see the rate structure at the Kelsey Center go back to status quo until we get the report from the SRD and make our decisions from then.
Well, the difficulty doing that is we don't know when the SRD is going to finish their report. So one of the things we do have to, because it's starting to open again, one of the reasons why the deficit or the monies was low in terms of the loss last year, it was because of COVID and how often it was open. So what they're, and correct me if I'm wrong, CAO, but the idea now is, I mean, generally the projected loss prior to COVID was around 206,000 a year and above. So they're going to be right around the same neighborhood if the financial plan is, from what I understand, and they're going to be looking at right around the same type of loss around, I think, between 205 and 210 on the Kelsey Center, which is in line with what it was a couple of years ago prior to COVID. So without putting these programs in place and trying to minimize the deficit, it's a bill that we still have to pay until a decision is made on the Kelsey Center. Now that could be next year before that decision is made because the study hasn't even started yet. So if we can minimize whatever loss now through programming and other ventures that they're looking into, I think it's our responsibility to do so.
Can I speak, Councillor Tinsley?
Councillor Tinsley, go ahead.
Just want to, I would agree with that. I also with the CAO and the project they're doing, gathering information, that would be seen to be what we need to be doing now to get things happening. Things are opening up. They'll do the best they can to come up with programs. Programming is the key for even having the center. And then the longer term thing, if we want to talk a year from now, is the SRD answer and what's going to happen as we look at the deficit regardless, right? But I think we just need, allow the CEO the time to gather this information and come up with the plan program, and then we go from there. And then the longer term things will be around the SRD.
Okay, thank you. CAO.
Yeah, I'd like to just seek council's direction for the immediate delegation that was through. So, in terms of rates, we are doing the project of looking at other rec centers and looking at rates that they charge as well in relation to not only the budget, but the community needs. So what I would seek council's direction for is for the immediate, for the lawn bowlers, does council seek to keep status quo, which means no charge, or have the current seniors rate in place for that particular function for the short term until such time we can do a complete review of rates for council review?
Councillor Paulson. Sorry. Oh. Councillor Craig.
Yes, please. I would like to see, it's just a personal opinion of mine, until the CAO's work is completed, I'd like to see all fees halved. So if it was $4 before, it's $2 now. And that goal is to bring people back into the Kelsey Center and back into the fold and back using the pool and back using the hot tub, back using the amenity. Cut the fees in half, bring the people back, let the CAO do his work. And then once the CAO is finished doing their work, probably around June, I'm guessing, then you can readjust and start fresh from that point of time. I think at this point in time, though, it's incumbent to bring the people back so we can start rolling the Kelsey Center and making more money in June.
Councillor Paulson.
I am not in favor in this whole process in principle, because I believe that we did make a motion last September to leave things at status quo. And what it looks to me like is that a group, even though it is the staff, have been asked to gather information and develop programs and look into increasing the use of the Kelsey Center when council opposed that last September. And so I think that it should be brought back to council as a proposal, and it's also I see it as a budget item. And so I regret that the process has gone forth as far as it has. It's upset the seniors. And I think it's put an increased workload on the staff of the rec center, who have been sent out to gather costs and of different other areas. And I can't agree with this.
The motion that I brought up in September was to have a subcommittee based with a couple of people from council and other citizens to look at a way we could mitigate loss. It was defeated because the SRD was going to do their study, and we were hoping it was going to be done by Christmas. Now, the study still hasn't even started at this point. In the interim, even by waiting till June, half the year is gone. We need to mitigate losses at the center because that's direct taxpayers' money. We also need to make sure that we have a successful programs in place, and it is their job at the Kelsey Center, the Kelsey Center manager's job, to do programming to ensure that money's being brought in and so on and so forth. That's their job, not just to work the desk. So I respectfully disagree. I think they need to continue on getting the information, implementing more programs, and mitigating the loss to the community. Councillor Kushner, do you have any feedback? Sorry, your microphone is off. Sorry, Susan, Councillor Paulson. There you go. No, there you are.
Good. I agree with that, Mark.
All right, thank you. Councillor Tinsley.
I agree with allowing the CEO and the staff to do that work. I think it's important to get it going up. I also agree with Councillor Craig that it would be a good faith thing to just say to the seniors, hey, we'll cut it in half for now. We are assessing things, as the CAO has said. But I think it's important that, you know, people understand that there's never going to be anything free out of a center that's currently losing $200,000 a year. There's got to be, you know, people have to be prepared to pay something. And yes, you know, seniors rates, if we look at things down the road, or, you know, subsidies or whatever, you know, can be adjusted, but I think it would be a good faith thing to just do that now. And their understanding that, you know, per the CAO, that the things are being studied. So that rate may stay the same. It might go up, it might go down, it might, you know, whatever, right?
Give something, Dan. CAO?
Thank you, Councillor Tinsley. If I may propose, just for the lawn bowling, you know, to collect even $2 is not going to take this center very far. So, you know, for the interim, perhaps for that one program, that's something that we could offset until such time we do the rate review and bring it before council. You know, for other programming that has senior pricing, such as pool use and what have you, that's a different matter. I suggest that would be for council's review. But for lawn bowling specifically, because that was brought before us and because it's minimal usage at the center, we might want to consider offering that one on a continued basis.
And what about cribbage and the other? They have left the Kelsey Center because of the $4 charge. The Domino Group and the cribbage. So where do you start and where do you end? Do you like just for the seniors programs you're referring to right now? Other than swimming, but
my suggestion would be just what program remains, and that's the one-day lawn bowling. Domino's has already sort of left the building, and that space has been reallocated to kids programming, the after-school program, that slot. So
okay.
Because that slot was available, and that's also a very important program.
Okay, so we had a motion on the floor, did we not? Didn't write it down. Let's get, we'll do a new motion. So we have a motion to have the seniors for carpet bowling from now until the CAO has the program figured out at no charge. Do I have a motion, please? Do I have a motion?
So I'm just trying to understand. So no charge was what it was previously? They weren't charged?
They weren't charged before until the $4 rate came in.
I see. Okay. Yeah. So we just, yeah, you know, in the end, it's about getting the study done, look at the things. And so, yeah, in the interim, we just need to keep it going. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second it.
Discussion? Sorry, Councillor Craig?
I said I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. Discussion? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried. Okay. Everybody get a chance to read the mayor's report on the salmon farming,
Yes.
on agriculture? Does anybody have any questions regarding what was put forth? No?
So,
Councillor Tinsley?
yeah, sorry, I'm just reminding myself of a couple of things. Like, so the motion is like we're wanting to promote the fact that there's a real concern about the changes for jobs and things like that, right?
Correct.
One of my concerns is about, like, there's a lot of science around this too, and the concerns about the farms, and just all this everyone's kind of like, well, you're on this side or that side. It's not really about sides. It's kind of about the science and what maybe needs to change. So that's my only concern. Like, I mean, I guess you can strongly urge that renew licenses for 10 years. That's, I mean, you can ask for that, right? But times are changing with the science information, right? It's more about
what has happened is the federal government back in the fisheries minister at that time in December 17th of 2020 made a decision that all Discovery Island fish farms were going to be closed by this summer 2022. It wasn't based on science, because there is science out now that actually shows minimal risk to wild salmon. It was a political decision. Now, the problem is the minister, federal minister, put this into place and has no plan. And the new minister is no different, had no plan on what they were going to do for recreation of these jobs or economic loss. There is no retraining money. There's been no talk about it. The federal government has basically ignored this problem and won't even come to the table. The federal minister will not communicate on it as well. So there's up to 7,000 supporting jobs that are going to be left out in the field. No retraining and no monies.
Right.
So this is,
Yeah.
that to me is horrible. I mean, the decision was made politically and not based on science. Now, not all the First Nations have agree the fact that these fish farms should be closed. There are First Nation groups that want the fish farms, that actually own the fish farms, some of the fish farms, and they've been told no, because it's the other 7 nations, and our MP that we have here does not support fish farms. But again, the fact remains is they didn't have local government or anybody come to the table. They made this decision. These people are, there's already been over 500 job losses and no place for these people to go. On the island, you got to look at Port Hardy is going to take a huge hit and is taking a big hit right now with their cannery. And again, there is no opportunity for retraining or monies put forward. So
Yeah,
this is
no, I
what we're
totally agree with
supporting.
that. Yeah, yeah. No, I totally agree with that. It's a changing industry, and they need to have, come in with some kind of a transition plan without. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Yep. So I'm fine.
Now, the one thing that that's mentioned by this gentleman in Ottawa here is the fact that we should be sending out individual letters as well. Now, one of the things that we know is the group of North Island mayors have made a difference in terms of the provincial bodies, not federal, but provincial bodies, and getting them to the table. Individually, you're not as strong as you are as a group. So we just have to keep that part up. So I guess what I'm asking for is a resolution that we send our resolution to the powers that be. I'm just trying to find where the wording is on this particular document here for the resolution. CAO, could you point that out to me? No, it's not on. No, it's in the package, not on the agenda. Okay. Sorry, folks, let me make sure we got the wording correctly. Okay, so the recommended resolution is salmon farms are an important part of the local government, sustain 1,000 jobs and families. That's not a resolution. Sorry, folks, just bear with me for a moment.
Just down from that paragraph that's in later.
Okay, we, the council, are concerned, but that again is not a motion. So anyways, what we will do is bring that forward another time, but we need to do a resolution. How would you suggest wording that, CFO? We need a resolution to support the fact that the 7,000 job losses, as well as the Indigenous communities. So I guess we could say as salmon farming is an important part of the local British Columbia, sustaining over 7,000 jobs and families, whereas local company depends on the work for agriculture sector. As salmon farming industry is transitioning and adopting new technologies and procedure in agriculture, whereas the right of Indigenous communities and people bolstered by the salmon farm, and where any action to reduce salmon farms and the right of Indigenous peoples' rights. Okay. So to support the growth of salmon farming in the British Columbia and encouraging increasing foreign direct investment and supporting and adopting new technologies. Is that the resolution?
Yep.
Okay, so each council, municipality, passes resolutions asking the resolution, okay, requesting that the federal government renew salmon farming license for 10 years to support job, economic development, and First Nation reconciliation. Do I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second,
I'll second that.
discussion?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
There was previous to what you're doing right now, there was a previous letter exactly like this sent out by Andy Adams, the mayor of Campbell River, and the mayor of Port Hardy, and the mayor of Port McNeil, and a few other
Correct.
mayors signed on and sent this same letter. And in the interim, Cermak, Grieg, and Moe all had 3 separate federal court cases regarding this. So is this a new initiative on that, or is this just us adding on to their previous initiative?
No, every council and every municipality is basically sending out the same letter as well as a group from North Island mayors
But
to
they've
the
already
federal ministry.
sent out their letter. So what the question is?
No, Campbell River is bringing it forward on a motion. It's a different type of letter they're sending out, or they're going to be sending out what we have here. Campbell River has not put out a motion yet or a
No.
resolution to do so. I spoke to Andy this week.
I've read their motion beforehand when this first went to court 6-7 months ago. I was working for Moe at the time, or well, working for Save Our Futures with
Yeah,
Moe. Read it.
it's basically the same type of letters that we have sent in the past as we're doing again. So do we have any other discussion? CAO?
Or if you see point number 2 on page 16 as well, that there is more to it. Send a letter to the PM, federal ministers, BC senators and BC MPs, provincial ministers and MLA saying that we've adopted the following resolution. So
Okay,
then you-
sorry.
then you would put the resolution in.
And then, yeah, and then also that we would send a copy of the resolution to local media, provincial media. So we're expanding that motion. Obviously, it's not the week of February 21st. And if necessary, we explain to local media why. We will be meeting at AVICC. We will not be going to Ottawa. Okay, there's many municipalities that cannot afford that expense. We're going to continue to do our bidding through Teams and through Zooms and through letters. However, we may end up in Victoria. That's hard to say at this point until a date is passed. So it's 1 through 3 is the resolution. Okay, so we'll just rewrite that and say 1 through 3. So do we have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second,
I'll second it.
discussion? Opposed? Hearing none, motion is carried. So 1 through 3. Okay, that was fun. Unfinished business, none. Staff reports. Okay, number 11, staff reports on new policy of 100 XXX council social media use. That social media policy 100 XXX and staff report to be received for information and discussion. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second? Thank you. Discussion? Opposed? Hearing none, motion's carried. Everybody had the opportunity to go through that?
Yes.
Okay, CAO, do you have any comments on that?
No, past the fact that this social media policy for council is something that's in has garnished a lot of attention right now, and from what I'm hearing is quite advisable to adopt a policy like this. This one is put together with other municipalities as reference points, and so this will be before council for approval for next council meeting, unless you wish to review that now.
Councillor Paulson?
Under the scope 3.0, it says this policy applies to all members of Sayward Village Council. Is there a social media policy for staff?
Yeah, it needs to encompass staff as well. I agree.
I thought there was reference in it, when I saw the samples anyway, like it was reference to staff and even volunteer, like, am I thinking of the wrong thing? Oh, I'm thinking about the next thing on the agenda,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
You're not on there yet. Sorry, Councillor Paulson. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Yeah, we are developing a similar policy for all staff, volunteers, and so forth. This one's aimed specifically at council as we start reviewing all of these policies as part of that program.
Okay, thank you. Opposed? None carried. Okay, so amended policy, respectful workplace policy, number 200-03, red line edits. Okay, recommended resolution that the respectful workplace policy number 200-03 amended staff report be received for information and discussion. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second? Thank you. Discussion?
It's
Opposed?
Councillor-
Oh, sorry,
Oh.
Councillor Paulson.
Oh.
Go ahead, Councillor Paulson.
Says on page 25, the current policy has been amended to include mayor, council, elected officials, contractors, all volunteers, suppliers, and visitors. Again, I ask, where does staff fit in?
CAO.
Thank you. Staff should be included in that. Now that revision will be made.
Thank you. So we can see that at the next council meeting? Perfect. Good catch. Thank you. Opposed? Hearing none. Motion is carried. Okay, grant writing. Recommended resolution that the council approves a sum of $400 per year based on a 3-year contract for grants and alerts. Do I have a motion?
I'll move that.
Second? Discussion?
Question.
Opposed? Go ahead.
This is in regards to hiring somebody to submit grants and research grants on our behalf for $400 per year.
Not to write the grant, but to research the grant and have alerts. I'll get the CAO will explain. One moment, please. CAO.
Thank you, Councillor Craig. The $400 is for grant alerts. So that is a company that as soon as those grants become available from a variety of different sources, we're alerted to that for interest. So $400 a year was based on a 3-year contract for that. So that seemed quite reasonable. The $25,000 is for, exactly as you've said, using third parties with expertise to write more complex
We're not there
grants.
yet.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. We're not talking about the 25,000. We're talking about the 400.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, so do we have discussion? Opposed? Seeing none, that motion is carried. Next is that the council approve a sum of $25,000 annually to be set aside for the express purpose of grant applications based on 3 to 4 large grants per year. Do I have a motion?
I'll move that.
Second? Sorry, Councillor Kirschner, you were leading towards that?
Who decides
We do.
if it's large enough to?
We do. Council decides. So yours is second?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Discussion? Go ahead, Councillor Craig.
Okay, so, I'm confused as to why we would be paying $25,000 of taxpayer money to somebody to write our grants for expertise on that, when we have a CAO whose job it is to do that, or a CFO, who
Okay.
are paid to do that.
Well, hang on a second. One of the problems that we've had here consistently in the past is grant writing and having the opportunity to actually get the grants because of how they were written. The standard response has been they've been oversubscribed, which is a polite way of saying either you were missing stuff from your grant writing or wasn't done properly. However, what we're talking about is large grants here, similar infrastructure grants like what we've just applied for to urban systems to do the 1.7 million for McMillan. That's what we're talking about. Smaller grants are still going to be, alert comes, and that's still going to be in-house. But when you're putting together a large grant that is over 100 some odd pages with engineer reports that have to be there, that expertise is important. And we have not had a CAO with that expertise who is an engineer, an actual engineer that could put those things together. So we're talking about large infrastructure grants, not small grants. For the clarification, small
Yeah.
grants are still going to be done by the CAO.
Yeah, it's, that might be what you're talking about, but I'm talking about $25,000 of taxpayer money that I don't think should be allocated to that.
We did have
Thank you.
discussions at this, at previous meetings.
Yes, we
been
have.
discussed about the logic behind this. So I
Yes.
don't believe Councillor Craig was in attendance for those, but we have had discussions around the logic of this amount of money and the reason and comparables to other small communities. So it has been well discussed.
Correct. So you bring up a good point. So Councillor Craig, when you get the opportunity, please review the other meetings and that'll give you your answer. CAO?
Or I just wanted to indicate too that there is this is for the express purpose of complex grants. So where engineering, as you stated, case in point, I personally just filled out a grant for 150,000 for co-op community spaces, and that one we were able to use in-house resources for. Additionally, the companies that we're looking at today, for example, PSD Citywide out of Victoria. If we're looking at expressly a project with an organization that they have expertise, and in this case, PSD has expertise in IT and procurement. So if we ever looked at a procurement sort of computer program, and when we selected them, that grant would be written free of charge. Some of these organizations, such as PSD Citywide, also have a review as part of the contract. So what that means is, for example, the one I just wrote for co-op community spaces, they would review that one per year free of charge for us, with the subscription as noted. So case in point too is for example, Urban Systems was just recently contracted for our large infrastructure grant, and that one was an incredibly complex where engineering was involved. I'm also happy to report, though, is some of the engineering companies that we've used in the past also secure grants as a good business practice, and that wouldn't cost us anything. So this would be in those cases that we're applying for a complex grant and it's not the company that we're using. I hope that adds clarity.
Yeah, there's no guarantee. We're not going to be, because the $25,000 is in the budget, we're going to be sit there and spend the $25,000 this year without council approval on a grant that is a large grant. Sorry, CFO?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Sorry, I just wanted to correct something that you actually just said. It currently is not in the budget, this $25,000. So I just wanted to make that really clear to council before you make any decisions. If this is to be included in the budget, council's going to want to look at where the source of funding is going to come for this. Are taxes being increased? Are other things being decreased, et cetera? So that may be something to discuss. You know, myself and the CAO can figure out where to pull funding from and then bring options to council. Just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me be clear what I was trying to state. It's even after a source of funding is found and so on and so forth, with the $25,000 being in there doesn't mean we need to spend it. correct? It's just there. So not like some other government organizations may do. Okay. So we had a motion. Do we have a second? Norm did. Thank you. Discussion is complete. Do we have opposed?
I'm opposed.
Okay, motion is carried. The Village Sayward Audit Plan Report. The council received received the Village of Sayward Audit Planning Report for information and discussion. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Second?
I'll second that.
Good discussion. Opposed? Hearing none, carried. Recommended resolution is that council receive a staff report submitted February 15th from CEO for discussion as requested by Councillor Polson and the Committee of the Whole on the 22nd. I believe we've discussed the Kelsey Center as far as, is that correct, Councillor Polson? Okay, thank you. So do we need to have that resolution in there, or we can just skip right by there? Thank you. Staff report, verbal, the appointment of Tom Tinsley as the Emergency Program Coordinator, ECP, is that Tom Tinsley would be appointed as Emergency Coordinator, position to be awarded $300 a month stipend to be carried out the duties of this position effective March 1st today, 2022. Do I have a motion, please? Thank you. Second? Discussion? Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay,
But
motion is carried. Thank you.
there was discussion. You asked for discussion first.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize. Discussion.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to Tom Tinsley himself. I am opposed to a council member having this position, having held this position, and I don't feel it is appropriate for this position to go to a member of council. In fact, most of these positions do not go to council specifically for a reason. So I would have preferred that somebody from outside of council get this position.
Okay, thank you. Opposed? Motion is carried. Number 12, bylaws. There are none. New business. We're going to discuss, we are going to go to in-person meetings and no more teams starting on April 1st. On April 1st, we will be in chamber, everybody. We have to make sure that, of course, we're still going to be following whatever direction from the provincial health order is at that time. But as an announcement, so everybody is prepared, April 1st, there is no more teams meetings. It'll be in council. And second goes to the CAO regarding the Kelsey Center, or we already discussed that?
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, can I just jump in? I
Certainly.
think in part of the in-person, which you've just discussed, we also wanted to discuss the fact that we're still going to be recording the meetings so that they will be available for people who want to observe them and for
Yes.
transparency purposes.
That is correct. Sorry, thank you for bringing that up. We are going to record every meeting from here on out, not from a tape recorder, but from our current system that we're using now. But for council will have to be here in person starting April 1. Okay, and now we go to more on the Kelsey Center. CAO?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Sorry, you're not on. Councillor Kirchner, could you turn off your mic, please? Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before council right now, I've got a quote from West Coast Lifeguard and First Aid Training. And to give you some background on this, one of the major reasons the pool isn't open today is we don't have a pool of lifeguards. This is fairly scarce right now because for the last 2 years, lifeguard training just simply hasn't happened. We are not the only municipality in this situation right now, but there is a limited amount of municipalities offering this training today. Before me is a quote to offer bronze medallion, bronze cross, national lifeguard, standard first aid by licensed, experienced, and reliable company. Part of this has an SRD grant attached to it. So in short, those courses would be open to public to offset costs. And they would be used for one staff that we have currently today. Some recertification for the rec manager, most likely. And there's 2 people in the community that are interested in joining us for lifeguards that need to be certified. Past that, this would be open to other areas. And in our research, we have found that Campbell River has completely sold out with this programming. So we don't anticipate any problems to fill these courses. The price for all of this training, and when we're talking about this training, Bronze Medallion is 20 hours of course instruction. Bronze Cross is 20 hours. National Lifeguard is 44 hours. And Standard First Aid is 16 hours of course material. That quote is $12,018.01, of which $2,357.04. Sorry, that includes $2,357 of CRD grant contribution. So I'm hoping that council will approve $12,018.01 for the life-saving courses through West Coast Lifeguard and First Aid training to be approved, and that $12,018.01 be transferred from the COVID-19 restart to cover this expense.
Sorry, and how much money do you feel you're going to be able to pull from running the courses? Revenue back?
We haven't set rates yet, as we're still finding out what other munis have done. We would offer this course to our existing staff. We're proposing at no charge or very little to get them certified so we can open that pool.
Right, but to other communities.
Yeah, for each one of these courses, I don't have the rate information yet. I don't have the rate information yet.
That should cover off the 10 grand. So you mentioned it was just over 12,000, but 2,000 of that is coming from the SRD.
Sorry, it's a 14-ish, sorry, 13,802.76 was the total, of which 2,000 comes off, adding GST of 572.29. The total that we're asking for today is $12,018.01.
And you believe most of that money is going to be, we're going to get back from charging at the courses?
I do.
Okay. So council, we have a motion on the floor to, may I see that, please? The motion is, sorry, I'm looking for the number. There we go, 13.8, this one right here. Okay. We have a motion to approve spending of $12,018.01 for the West Coast Lifeguard and First Aid training at the Kelsey Center. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second,
Second.
discussion? Councillor Paulson?
I'd like to have a little bit more information about the fees and attracting participants to it. And I wonder if we could put some kind of I don't know what you call it, but if one of our staff takes the lifeguarding course and then decides to leave Sayward and go to Campbell River, for instance, within 2 years, then that money be paid back.
Taken back from their check. Yeah, sorry, CAO.
Thank you.
You have to turn off your mic, Councillor Paulson. There we go. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Paulson. Yes, we were proposing, and I'm sorry I left that out, a 1-year term requirement. Otherwise, fees paid would be subject to repayment.
Is that something that we checked with Work BC on? Okay, thank you. Yep. You're happy with that?
I'm
Okay,
happy with that addition.
thank you. So discussion, further discussion?
So it's Councillor Tinsley. Just I wanted to just clarify so that we're using the COVID money for this amount, and that covers the training for our current one staff person. Or am I misunderstanding? Because you mentioned there's two public people interested also in attaining these qualifications.
Go ahead, CAO.
Thank you. Yeah, so what we're proposing is that those funds be transferred from the COVID restart to secure the training as a start. And then we are doing everything in our power to get as much of that back through other people outside of our community joining. So the people that would not be paying rate would be the one staff that we have currently interested in getting certified, the recertification of the rec manager, and potentially, and this is ongoing for discussion and for council's review, is there's two people that work in the community that have applied for the lifeguard position that don't have sufficient training. So it would be for council to decide whether you want to offer that training at a discount or a severe or in part and whole to those two interested individuals that live within the Sayward village and or area A.
If, to me, if those individuals are going to apply and be lifeguards at our pool, then we get them through this course. And then, for example, you can do, again, the same type of thing. Or if they pay for it up front, if there's a fee, then we pay them back X amount of dollars on their check every 2 weeks or something like that. But we should definitely get them aboard. Council
So-
agree?
Yes, I do. I'm still trying to clarify. This 12,000 is just for one person, right? So
No.
No, it's a pool that covers the current staff person and potential subsidies for these two public people. Is that correct?
And whoever else from other communities, what I would suggest, and I'm sure the CAO is going to do, is contact communities like Gold River, McNeil, so on and so forth, and put it out in their information that these people can, from WAS, Gold River, McNeil, so on and so forth, take advantage of this program through us.
Right. So that dollar figure covers sort of the program, and you could have 3 or 4 people taking it all together. Is that what we're saying?
I believe it's much more than that. So I'll get a number of maximum participants for the course, but it's far greater than 3 or 4.
Oh, I see. Okay, but the dollar figure stays the same, right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay, super. That's all I needed to know. Thank you.
Okay, so opposed? Hearing none, motion is carried. Public question period, maximum 15 minutes. Purpose of the question period is to enable citizens to ask questions to council about issues that are important to the citizens asking the question. Speakers are asked to limit their questions to 1 each, and if time permits, that everyone has the opportunity to ask a question, the speaker may go to a second question. Citizens will be asked to state their names and address. We have anybody online? We have no one. In camera is none. And adjournment. Resolution, pass a motion to adjourn. Do I have a motion, please?
We'll move that.
Second?
I'll second
Discussion?
it.
Discussion? Opposed? Hearing none? We're done. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you very much.